So it looks like we are getting new comics here at the end of April. Well, sort of new comics, but it looks like the machines are starting to go, at least with DC. Things are going to be kind of stop and start for a little bit of time, but this is interesting and positive news. So let's get into that. Hey everybody, this is Perch. DC announces today that comic books are returning to shops on Tuesday, April 28th. There's been a 4-week break, but sort of new. So mostly this first week will be reprintings, a couple new things, but really then Tuesday, May 5th, we do start to get actual, brand new Flash, brand new Hawkman, brand new Batman and the Outsiders, and then week after that, May 12th, we're getting Harley Quinn, Justice League. So we are starting to see this slowly ramp back into production. DC sent out a survey to a ton of stores, weirdly including to me, and I am between stores at the moment, so that is kind of unusual, but that's okay. We are happy to give input. I know a lot of people and basically the comic store owners are going to find creative ways to get things out. So what's interesting is how are these stores getting these things out? As it appears is that DC has identified these distributors. DC has driven it. So this does look like certainly a extension plan beyond Diamond. And what this means longer term for Diamond is anyone's guess. Two new distributors. We've got this Lunar Distribution. We've got UCS Comic Distributors. So both of these groups are being kind of added to Diamond. It gives them some footprint outside. I think there's still the overall, concern of how this stuff goes, and DC is very slowly turning on the faucet of doing a very small amount of comics. I think they're testing kind of this new supply. Can it get to businesses? Can it get out? Basically, this will cover a bunch of areas around the country, pretty much everywhere, and even outside the U.S. So comics are going to go out. And I think this is the start of things slowly returning to normal. I still, from everything we've said in the past, I think it's going to be well into June before the comic, real comics, full indie market, this system is working. And still there's a lot of questions about international, can't get comics there and everything else. But it's a positive news, DC making some progress moving forward with new comic books. That's good. And I think that's the good part of, kind of this trio of news. The negative news, which is a surprise to absolutely nobody, but some people are acting as though it is shocking news, is that San Diego Comic-Con has officially been canceled for this year. There has not been a bigger news about what's going to, if anything, will replace it. I mentioned yesterday that it would be very difficult for them to pivot to an online event or anything like that. It's the first time in a 51-year history that this has been canceled. But it looks like a full cancellation. It looks like they're not going to try and do anything, and they're not going to do anything later in the year. It will return in 2021, July 22nd to 25th. Definitely, this was something that San Diego basically is. It's massive for their economy, so it's going to have a major effect on San Diego. The other bit of bad news, but again, not unexpected, is that a greater number than was expected is what I've heard. Employees of Marvel Entertainment have been told they will be furloughed as part of the overall Disney furloughs that are going out. Quite a large number of furloughs happening at Disney right now, and the Marvel employees have been notified. Furloughs will take effect in about a week. And this is where the furlough is not like a firing. The employee is on a temporary leave of absence. They, from what I understand, will not be paid during their time off, but they will have benefits, and they will still be able to, in theory, once things resume, they can get their job back. So from what I understand, this was expected, but it was also a greater amount than was expected. So bad news, Disney World alone furloughed 43,000 people. So it's not surprised that Marvel is seeing some of this as well. Most of these furloughs are going to be things for lack of a better word, office jobs, publishing and outreach to different parts of the Marvel business. This is different than creators, most of whom are freelancers and have already gotten a slowage of work or a stoppage of work. This is a furlough of staff that kind of keep operations going. So a mix of news. So on one hand, good news that DC is getting things going. They do intend to resume distribution of comics and other products. They're saying mid to late May. However, the news from DC is that it's going to happen a little earlier at the start of May for a small amount. So, the belief is that based on what they're seeing in their distribution centers and their printers and everything else, that Diamond can look to a mid-late May to start things moving again. But again, like I said it before, this is not going to be a sudden turn on of the business. It's going to take time for everything to get going. It's going to take time for all the comics to go. Independent and smaller publishers are likely going to have to wait longer, as the goal certainly most likely is going to be to get the bigger core titles that make up the bulk of the revenue moving first. And that does make sense, of course, but it's looking like Diamond starts resuming late May, at least in some capacity within, and at this limited capacity with these other distributor companies at the beginning of May. So I guess the other question is going to be, will that be DC only, or are they going to, is Marvel going to join in on this? There's been a lot of unity in the comic industry of late. Will that continue? So a lot of questions still, but this is the latest news. Some interesting developments certainly on how things are going. And by this time tomorrow, I'm sure it will be newer news still. So every minute things are changing, and we're just trying to keep up with it. Leave me your comments below if you have any thoughts on any of this. Would love to hear your thoughts, your feelings, what's on your mind, and suggestions you have for the industry. Like and subscribe. Recommend to your friend if you can. And follow me on Twitter at Perch. Thank you for listening.